Hi guys, there are two luxury bags that I bought in the past that I hated so much that I ended up selling. And then ended up repurchasing. And you might think that I am crazy, but let's just see what actually happened, because you need to keep an open mind. That's all I'm going to say. Let's get going. Let's start with Louis Vuitton. So, originally I bought the Pochette Métis, and I bought it when it was the huge hype for the monogram Pochette Métis, and it was such a pain to get hold of, but I managed to get one. I put myself on a waiting list, and in the end I got one, and I loved it until I didn't. And I thought it was a great bag. There were little things that just sort of annoyed me about it, but I sort of thought it was okay. I then compounded the issue by buying another Pochette Métis. So I bought the monogram version because, well, anyway, we'll come on to this because that was just a mistake. It was a mistake from start to finish. It was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. So what happened with that one? I knew that I didn't love the Pochette Métis. I knew there were things that niggled me about it. So when the monogram collection came out, and it was probably, was it about 2 years ago, something like that, and I was obsessed. I love blue. I absolutely love blue, and Louis Vuitton don't do a lot of blue. They do a lot of browns and beiges, and their monogram, if you think about it, the damier ebene, even the damier azur, there isn't a lot of blue. Sometimes they do denim, and sometimes they do some navy in the leather goods. But yeah, they don't always come out with blue. And so when I saw the monogram, which looked like it had a blue iridescent finish, I was absolutely hooked. So I was kindly invited to the trunk show at Louis Vuitton in Bond Street, which was, it's basically like a fashion show to present the upcoming collection that's coming out, and it was for the monogram. And yeah, I had too much champagne. I did, and I was desperate to come home with a piece of monogram. And I think what happened was, the only bag that was in the monogram in the blue, because it also came in like a beigey goldy iridescent one, which wasn't for me. So the only bag that I really sort of liked was the Pochette Métis, but in the East West. And it looked beautiful. It really, really did. So I bought it. And yeah, I'd had too much champagne. I shouldn't have been buying. I think I was just overcome with being invited to this trunk show at Louis Vuitton, and I was just determined to come back with a piece, and it's just not the right thing to do. And secondly, it definitely isn't the right thing to do when you don't actually check the item that you're buying, because mine was defective. It was. And honestly, Louis Vuitton were amazing. They put it right immediately. They got me another one, all the rest of it. So why, oh why, at that stage when I knew it was defective, why did I just not return it? Why did I get a replacement? Because I already knew it wasn't my favourite sort of bag. I just don't know. I don't know why I did. I think I persevered because I really liked the monogram. Now, not everybody did like the monogram. Some people felt that it looked a little bit plasticky. I actually quite liked it. But yeah, it did put me off that mine was defective, and they did get me another one and it was perfect and everything else. However, the new one that I got, I never used it. I never used it. And the reason that I didn't like the Pochette Métis in general, let's go over why I didn't like it and why that's sort of changed and why I think that is. So firstly, I didn't like the S-lock. Let me just show you the actual Pochette Métis that I do have in my collection. I have this one. So after selling the two Pochette Métis that I had, so the monogram one and the monoglam one in the East West, I ended up selling both of them. And I ended up buying this. So you might say, why on earth did you go and buy a bag that you hated twice and sold the bags twice? Well, yeah, it's a good question. But anyway, I'll explain what I didn't like about it and why this one is still in my collection. So I don't like the S-lock. I don't like it. I just find it, I think it looks nice, but I find it a little bit fiddly. The hardware gets so scratched. I have a thing about hardware where it gets really scratched for no reason, as in I always try and look after my bags, but because the S-Lock, you have to sort of move it to get it into the right bit. You just cannot help but scratch it. So this one actually isn't too bad. I bought this pre-loved as well, and this was classed as sort of good condition. It wasn't pristine or anything. My monogram one was scratched to high heaven. It was really bad. Anyway, that really annoyed me. And the other thing I didn't like about it, and I know this is nothing, it's really nothing, but I didn't like the inside of the monogram one. It was just like that brown, like micro suede. I'm just not the biggest brown lover, and I just thought they could have put something a bit more exciting in there. But anyway, so I sort of liked the monogram. I love monogram, but I sort of like the Pochette Métis in the monogram, but I have other monogram bags, and so I found that I was reaching for those more. So I ended up just selling that one because it was literally sat on the shelf. The monoglam one, why I didn't just send it back, I just no idea. But anyway, persevered with it, never wore it, and I think the strap on the East West was so annoying. It was a leather strap, and it had it was that adjustable one that you sort of had poppers, and then you pull it and you can make it bigger. Well, even on the longest setting, it was a little bit too short still, and a lot of people have said this about those sort of popper type adjustable straps. They're still not that perfect, and you can't change it to somewhere in between. It's either long or it's shorter. And yeah, I just found it a bit annoying. And also, when it was at its longest setting, it sort of dug in a little bit. Anyway, it did annoy me a little bit, and I think it wasn't long enough, because if you think about the shape of the Pochette Métis, obviously it looks like this. The East West one is sort of like probably this sort of length, something like this, and therefore it's that much, it sort of sits that much shorter on your body, so it appears as if it's actually too short as a crossbody. Whereas if you have a longer bag to start with, the strap drop itself can be the same, but actually where it hits you or where it ends is different depending on the size of the bag, isn't it? So if you've got something like a long messenger bag, it feels longer because the whole dimension is longer. So yeah, I think for me, all in all, the monoglam just sort of didn't work, but it was really the East West Pochette Métis that sort of didn't work for me. So why did I go ahead and buy another one when I clearly failed with the previous two and lost lots of money? let me add. So why did I go for this one? Well, I decided that I needed, and I know we're way past need, I know, but at that point in time, I felt that I needed a black leather crossbody type bag. And of course I love Louis Vuitton, and I was looking on the pre-love markets because I didn't want to spend a fortune, because I wanted it to be more casual, a little bit day to day. There was certain occasions that I thought if I just had a black bag that was a little bit less dressy, or you know, that's what I'm missing. Anyway, I found this on Bagista, and it was such a good price that I just thought, you know what, just see if this does work. So I actually happened to be in London when I saw it online, so I went to Bagista to have a proper look at it. And yeah, I mean, it isn't pristine, but it doesn't need to be. It's sort of nicely worn in, it feels soft and squishy. The crossbody is a proper adjustable one rather than like the East West version. So hopefully you can see it has lots of adjustments there. And I have this on I have it on the longest. I have this on the longest setting, and that suits me. So I really like it. So the bits that I didn't like about it, and you can see with the S-Lock, when you haven't got anything in your bag, you're sort of pushing against nothing. So sometimes it's really hard to actually close this, and Yeah, and to actually get it to click, but it's not the biggest problem in the world. And because it's got that little top handle, which I like, just easy to grab when you're grabbing this out of your car before you've put it on or something like that. And also obviously you could just use it like this. I've used this a lot because it's just easy. And I think the reason why this one works and the other two didn't is because it is black. Something that's black goes with everything that I own. And that is why I have more black bags than anything else, because they just work. So I think the moral of this story is that you can either change your mind, and that's okay, or you can get a slightly different version and it changes everything. Changes everything. So I would say always keep an open mind. Don't think, oh, I can't buy this because I've already sold one and people will think this or people will think that. Who cares? Go with what you really, really like. And I have been so happy with this. I really am. Would I get another Pochette Métis? Probably not, because I think this is the one that suits me. So I don't see the point in getting another version of it, because the reason this works is because it's black. Now, I probably would get away with a navy one. I'm sure it would be nice to have a navy one, but it would be so near to this one that, yeah, I don't think that I need another one. And I think that is a lesson for me, is don't think, oh, I love this one, I need another one in another colour. Just love the one that you've got. Sensible, eh? We're becoming sensible in our old age on this channel, which is all good. Let's move on to the second bag that I want to talk about. And honestly, I think this could be one of my favourite bags ever. I know it's a big claim. I've got some beautiful bags up there. I really do. But this bag, since I got it, I have used so many times. In fact, every single time that I have been out, which isn't that much, but if I've gone out for dinner or gone out for lunch or gone out somewhere other than the gym, I've chosen this bag and I have gravitated to it every single time. And I've really enjoyed using it. And yeah, I think honestly it could be one of my absolute favourite forever bags, but we'll see. It may be in a couple of months that I'm bored of it and I sell it. I doubt it. But anyway, I'm going to tell you which it is. And I'm sure you're not surprised. It's this one. So this is the Trendy. This is the Trendy in the small size. So it's not the mini, and I think there is a bigger one. This is the small size. And I went for the black, and I know it's lambskin, I know, in the chevron. And it's got the sort of champagne-y gold hardware. I bought this pre-loved. From Sasha, from Global Luxe Closet. And so I had no qualms about buying this from Sasha because I 100% trust her. I have bought and sold bags through Sasha, and I know how she is with me as a seller. All the details she wants, everything that she does to make sure that that bag is as advertised. I was happy. And I am happy anyway. So why am I saying that this is such a great bag? Well, it's just easy. And I know it's black and we'll come on to that, but just as that little top handle, but it is so stunning as a bag. I honestly think it is one of the prettiest bags, you know, and I know the Trendy is not for everyone. I know a couple of you really are not in love with the Trendy, but I really have enjoyed this. So let me rewind again and let's talk about the previous bag that I had that I hated so much that I sold. Well, I had the Trendy in the same size as this. It was in the small size and it was in the grey. I think it was just called grey, and it was in the quilted version. And on the face of it, that was a stunning bag. I love grey. I'm not going to say that it was because it was grey exactly, because I do love a grey bag. I do. However, I really didn't get on with that bag, and I think what happened, I waited so long for a trendy to come out in a colour that I really liked. I have already a classic flap, a Chanel classic flap in the jumbo size, which is in black with silver hardware. And I thought that getting a trendy in black, even though this was with champagne gold or yellow gold, I thought it was too near the classic flap, that they would compete with each other, that I didn't need two black Chanel bags. Silly. Anyway, I already had the wallet on chain as well. So in effect, I would have had 3 black Chanel bags that are sort of have a flap. Different sizes, different shapes, but in my head, it was going to be too similar. So every season for about 4 years, I'm not kidding guys, about 4 years, I kept looking for a trendy and thinking, when one comes out in a colour that I like, that isn't black, but I like as much as the black, then that'll be my trendy. And every season it was black was there. There was an odd time that there was a beige, which isn't for me. Then there'd be a very light colour. There'd also be some pastels. And there seemed to go through 2 or 3 seasons for sure where it was just really bright colours. So it'd be like a coral colour or a red or a really bright green or a blue or a purple even. None of them were for me. I was like, where is the burgundy colour? Where is the navy colour? Where is the grey colour? All those colours that I really do like. Anyway, eventually, the grey comes out, and it was in the quilted version, which I really like quilts. I really do. I've always thought that the Chanel bags that have the quilted, particularly caviar, I love caviar. Anyway, I just think it's beautiful. And I saw it on a shelf and I just thought, oh, I'm in trouble. I need to buy that bag. Now, at the time, I paid, I think it was something like £3,950, which is a heck of a lot of money. But the trendy is now, I think 5,500 or in the region of that. So it has gone up such a lot in a short space of time. Anyway, I did buy the grey one. The reason I didn't get on with it, I think, was a few reasons. One, lambskin. It was so delicate. Honestly, I hardly used it, and even just getting it down from the shelf in order to talk about it on this channel, I managed to scratch it and had to try and buff it, and I'd hardly touched it, and I just thought, oh, it's so delicate. And it just felt very thin, the leather. It felt smushy and lovely, but I felt it was really delicate. And it just really put me off lambskin in general. After that, I went, I'm never ever going to buy lambskin ever again. Famous last words, but also another lesson to keep an open mind, because I think I shut down a lot of possibilities because I sort of judged everything by that one bag. Now, whether it was that the colour with the lambskin made it just look, maybe it showed the marks more because it was a different colour to black, I don't know. So maybe a black lambskin in the quilt wouldn't have looked as bad. I've no idea. I could only tell you what happened with that one bag. It could also be that the lambskin that they had used at that moment in time was just not very good quality. And we have talked about with Chanel that as we've got sort of more recent with lambskin, it feels just not as quite good quality. So maybe that's what happened with mine. Somebody also mentioned that maybe it's because it has the quilts, and actually chevron doesn't show the scratches and the marks as much. Maybe that was it. But anyway, whatever it was, it put me off, that I felt like the lambskin was just delicate, and it put me off using it. I also was going through my era, and Amelia from Amelia Rose's Closet has mentioned this quite a few times, and it's happened to her as well. I went through a phase of everything has to be crossbody. It just has to be crossbody because I'm rushing around. I literally yeah, I need to be hands-free, or I need a really big work bag, which is what was happening at the time probably. So yeah, I was going for either the never full or a big sort of, even more of a big business bag, if you know what I mean, a big tote bag, or I was going crossbody because I was running around with the girls and whatever else. And I think the Trendy, with the fact that it has a longer strap, but this strap does not go crossbody. Well, it sort of does, but because of the top handle, it's not really crossbody at all. So I think it was, when am I actually going to use it? If I'm running around, it's no good. If I'm going to work, it's too small. And therefore it's only for going out. And I had other bags that I would go for first. Anyway, after a long deliberation over that, I did sell it. And I didn't really miss it. So why did I buy this? Well, to be honest, when I went to Paris, over the last year or so, I have been thinking more about honing my collection a bit. And I think I have changed a little bit. I think I do less things. I don't go to an office anymore. Things have changed in my life. I'm at the gym all the time and whatever. But I have sort of got to the place, I suppose, where I just really like a top handle bag. And I do still like a crossbody, but I've sort of got it in my head, it doesn't have to always be crossbody. So if you're going out for a nice lunch, or going, I don't know, even going shopping, anything like that, or going out for dinner, I just like a top handle. And I really wanted to get another Chanel bag. I just got it in my head that maybe the Coco handle might be for me. I was looking at that one again. I was looking, maybe I look for a pre-loved classic flat, but maybe in the medium size, but then that is not going to be top handle. And so I was umming and ahhing about it. I was also thinking of revisiting the Chanel 19, because again, top handle, crossbody, it's actually a great bag. But even though it is a great bag, I suppose it is a little bit more casual. Anyway, when I went to Paris, I did a huge try on, and I looked at the Chanel 19 again, and I looked at the Coco handle, and I looked at the Trendy, although I did look at the mini size of the Trendy, which actually does go crossbody, and it is the cutest bag. It is beautiful. And I came away thinking I'm not buying any of them because of the prices. They were €6,000 or €6,500. And I just thought, no. Anyway, when I got back, I sort of went on a bit of a mission and was looking at Coco handles, Chanel 19s and Trendies again. And I just thought, you know what? If you get one that's pre-loved, this one then came up on Sasha's WhatsApp post. And honestly, guys, if you want to follow Global Looks Closet, get on her WhatsApp list, because this came up and I just said, I'll have that. So I don't think it even hit her website or even her Instagram. I think it was on the WhatsApp group first. Anyway, and I just thought, actually, what I do know that I love is a black Chanel bag. And actually, even if it is quite similar to the classic flat, I know I like it, but it's actually even better. It's even better than the classic flat because it's got the top handle, and I like that. So I rarely use my classic flat because it's a pain to use, whereas this is just so easy. And honestly, I think the chevron just suits the bag so much. And the lambskin, now this again, it was not pristine. This is from quite a few years ago. And you will see there are a couple of marks, I think here. As I say, I've used this quite a lot already, and I've also a couple of creasings here, but it was never pristine when I got it. And I got this for such a great price. I got this for about half of retail, put it that way. And I just thought, do you know what? It's already had a few little knocks, so I don't need to be precious with it. And I don't think it looks bad, and I think that is because it's black, maybe because it's chevron. And yeah, the top bit is scratched. It needs a really good clean actually, but I'm just loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Of course, both of those are black, and I think that has weighed into this quite a lot, that the versions that didn't work before was because I was trying to do something different, and then I just didn't use them. So for me, if you love black bags and you want another black bag, then go buy black. Don't think, I'm not going to buy black because I've already got a lot of black bags. I actually need, I've got a gap of this. There might be a reason you've got a gap, because you wouldn't use it. And I have learned that to my detriment. So for me, it's just keep an open mind. You might go back to something in the future that you think you don't like now, and that's okay. It's all okay. They're just bags. And I know people get cross when I say that, but what I mean by that is, you know, it's not too deep that you can change your mind, and it's okay. And you can find something that you would have not even looked at and find that it's actually one of your favourite bags. I've actually been talking to Amelia a lot and saying, you need a trendy. She had a trendy as well and sold it. But again, I think it was the version that she had. I think, honestly, I think her perfect trendy would be the mini size, because she does love the little bags, and yeah, that does go crossbody. So yeah, Amelia, if you're watching this, go get a mini. Anyway, so let me know, guys, have you bought any bags that you've ended up selling and then rebuying, and they've become the best bags ever? And is it because you changed your mind? Is it because you were open-minded? Is it that it was a different version? Let me know. It's all good. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another one.